Hello and welcome. It is Saturday, the 5th day of August, 2017. My name is Derek. Welcome. It is about 1900 hours, 7:38 p.m. Eastern New York time. And I'm going to present the Bitcoin charts in multiple time frames as the daily and the weekly patterns are showing very good bullish moves. I've talked about the setup that was coming into play. It did exactly what you think the setup would do. And on the break of resistance, you're not expecting okay miniature size green candles. No way. Oh, so far it's up 14% with only 20 minutes left until the close of the day. So a decent size breakout when you go past resistance. I guess you could say an exception, and it really isn't that, isn't here. I mean, the days weren't that big, but it just continuously went up every single day, and the last 2 days were pretty decently sized as well. So you break a key point, boom, it's almost elevator to the upside. You could even make a case that this looks like it was like an inverted head and shoulders pattern. Well, the exact same reason why that pattern is so bullish is the exact same in here, and it pretty much is that. You had these higher lows, and it breaks above it. All right then, when you have a big level like this, 2,900, that means both short-term and mid-term. This is a key resistance level. Short-term, it's only been about 20 or so hours since this breakout occurred from this point of the video. And it very easily could have its next move there because it's pretty much got to the point you'd expect it to go to, well into 3,200. I thought between 32 and 33, and I placed a PDF book on orders, and I was about $5 short on my sell order. That was devastating. Not really. That happens to me all the time. But it means if the top is about a couple of dollars lower than where I want to sell, then I have to move my sell order at least a little bit lower or a decent amount higher. So I moved the sell order up to about 3,400 and change because of that. So that's what I like to do. If I miss a, say for example, I have a buy order that I miss in here just below this level, I'm either going to want to put it a little above it, which would hit here, or I'd want to put it a little bit below it. So that's what I would do if, say, I missed a buy order on something like that down in here, as an example, by just a small amount. And that happens all the time for both the buys and the sells. Anyway, as far as strategy is concerned, one of the things, if I were to be a teacher, and I'm not, I'm just saying that when you break a key level, you ask yourself the question, what is your upside potential? Where are you now? What is your best risk? What does the upside potential give you for return? And the answer to your upside potential is basically where your sell order would come into place. 4,100, 4,200, 4,300. This is a number I would choose based on the Fibonacci calculations I've been doing, which is stating 4,100 high as the area of resistance, that it would probably even go up to about 42. Therefore, you look at the mathematics. Okay, if this thing appears above 4,000 and it's at 3,250 and it's just breaking out, stating that the message of the market has changed. The message of the market here was bullish, uptrend, breaking out, totally bullish. Here, correcting its bullish move. Here, continuation of bullish. Here, sideways correction. Here, breaking down below support, starting a bear market. Here, correcting its first leg lower of the bear market. Here, oh, look like we have a failed breakout. Resumption of the sideways trend and the neutrality, and that stayed all the way until yesterday. So neutrality with the up bias because it was in the north end of the sideways consolidation. It was making the higher lows, which is an exact reason why I was so bullish and stating that a breakout was poised to occur, and of course it has. Okay then, so you look at risk reward. If you say you want to plan on selling 1,000 points higher, you're able to get about a 30% play. What kind of risk do you want to have? Well, quite frankly, it's not a surprise to have the markets, like I state, short-term and mid-term, come down here. So therefore, placing sell or stop orders in here to me is just terrible. And you'd have to think, okay, if you were to play the traditional game of stop orders, which I don't do myself, but if that was one for yourself, you probably have to consider closer to like 2,600 and lower than that, which means you're already risking 700 points to win about 1,000. Is that worth your risk? You'd have to ask yourself that question. But you want to play on the early stages of the breakout. Now, to sweeten the pot, let's take a look at this from a weekly perspective, looking at the same sort of reason to buy on a break of key resistance as it leaves the band. And key resistance isn't here. It's the same level, but this move comes right down to the 18 average of lows. Quick rebound. And after the beautiful rebound, 1 week period of just sideways consolidation, then poof, up she goes, breaking the resistance area. Very much the bullish situation. But if you look back in the past, oh, I wish I would have, like for example in here, oh, I wish I would have got in it. Well, this is where you were kind of supposed to, somewhere in here. You could have. And then even for this rally, well, you could have got in here, leaving the band, at least for this rally up to here. Definitely was in play. When it left this band in here, I mean, whether you got your sale here or not, that's another question. But you can see that as it's barely leaving the band, oftentimes there's significant movements that proceed higher. If you leave the band in here, you might have had to wait to get good gains. Maybe you could get a sale here, even leaving the band at this point in here. But then you also got leaving the band here. Granted, this doesn't have the parameter of rising 18 average. That's the key thing. You want to leave that. And this does have the parameter for such. So a decent sized gain above here. I mean, if we're talking 4,200, that's an okay move. So it could even go higher than that. For if you're at an area where you expect resistance to come into play and it doesn't, well, you're going to get something like this. Okay, it was supposed to be here. Even here. No. Resistance was supposed to be here. No. Probably somewhere around here. No. So it just keeps going higher. Same thing on the way down, of course, as well. So we get to points like, well, even here, too. I mean, there really wasn't any resistance in here. Then you continue to another leg towards the upside. So 41 to basically here is where the target levels are in place for both this high to this low. Based on that correction, breaking out of the resistance should bring you there, as well as this high and this low. So it's in process right now from the break of that point in here of making it to its target, and it's doing its job right now. Okay, we broke like 1,200. Got up to 3,000, pulled back to 1,850. Now we're breaking the 3 number on our way to the number 4,200. Now, for what it's worth, oftentimes they pierce extra. So then, what would be a decent extra pierce based on a move from here to here? Are we supposed to go to 42? I'd say about 43 to 44. How about a decent push from this one when you're supposed to go to 42? That'd be closer to 5,000 because it's got more of a volatility move, more of a longer term time frame. So that's why I would state, because of the psychological number as well, that if 5,000 doesn't indicate a resistance or very little resistance, very little would be defined as only a few days, maybe even 3 weeks even. And it just continues higher, 6,062. you could be pretty certain that 62 won't be up too much short term because it's probably going to keep going to 7, 8,000 if that situation occurs. And you'd see something like this, or you'd see something similar to this as well. Those are all the if situations. But as far as its pattern is concerned, when you're supposed to say, oh, indication, buy, sell, hold, it sure as heck isn't sell right now. It's definitely hold and buy, I would think. Whereas in here, you'd be talking about definitely not buying, and then holding, and then selling in small positions as well. See, I don't want to sell when it barely breaks the level. I'd rather wait till at least gets up here before I consider the action of selling, because if 3,000 is both resist or supposed to be support both short term and long term, that means short term right now, in the next few days, maybe it pulls back down to that area, and then it's going to eventually lift higher. But long term, you're talking about a move to 5,000, and then we're going to get some decent red week candles down like this. So maybe a move to 4,400 or something, and then it pulls back to 3. So that is why I'd be more likely wanting to sell closer to 4, at least for larger amounts, because then I could get good returns. It's an area where it should resist, and I should be able to buy it cheaper. And because I'm only selling a percentage of it, a tiny but okay amount, at least I know if I'm wrong and selling here is a poor play, that what I got held back is going to make terrific gains. So I'm going to be happy with that result as well. But yeah, I just don't want to sell anywhere near where I think it's going to keep going up. And if I think it's going to keep going up, then between buying and selling, the answer to that would obviously be a buy. And anything you do from this video, it's your own risk, own reward. I'm just giving how I see the message of this market, and just to understand a little bit of technical analysis as well. This thing has been rolling on for some time. Let's just quickly go over the short term and then call it a night. And we'll finish it with the hourly time frame, as the breakout, of course, occurred in here, and there's the fast move higher. Expect that to keep on happening when key levels of both support and resistance get taken out, that you have very large red and green candles that associate with the move. And when you have the move after a big one, how is it going to correct? And in this case, it's corrected by having this nice little upward sideways move. So it's been a very nice short-term bullish correction. There's been a very small price correction from a little south of 33.50 to 31.70. And it's still going to have deeper corrections, of course. We've got a small level at 31.70 established. Got a little bit here at 30.90, but keyword, small and little bit. The previous level, little south of 3,000, around 2,900. And the 3,000 psychological number is going to be key as well, if, of course, it even does it. Because we're in a situation, what happens when it leaves the 18 average of highs? Well, the situation here, it left it, it had a decent leg. Well, now it's resisting such, so you start to see price action. In here, you don't even need to see the chart short term. If you see tonight that it's at 32.70-ish or so, 3,300, well, it's doing such, and it very easily may be ready for a nice leg from this point, which you'd be looking at going over like 3,500 and change, around 35 or so, as its next leg, if that comes into place. But very good bullish setup. The buyers have been in control for quite some time. They most certainly haven't let go. Their acceleration is still very high at this point. So I'd like to thank you for tuning in, and have yourself a great day.